All right, over to you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Can I just say, I'm listening to all this beautiful messaging, and Miriam and I have talked about my story, and I grapple with it because people are still alive in my life, and I've been fearful. I've been fearful of retribution um, from that ripple effect of external family members who didn't know what was going on. So, ladies, you have given me the courage, and I'm going to tell you. So, I'm Sonia Figueira. I'm from Mindful Transitions. I am a coach who is learning deep work, deep healing work. My practice is based on quantum quantum theories, which is higher than the neuralistic programming that most of you know. So we go right down. And I did that because I needed to heal myself first. And I'm still doing that. I I was born a survivor, literally. I was born 3 months prem. So any birth is traumatic to any child. And it's a scary thing. We just don't know it, thankfully. But when you're born and you are ripped from your mother, and your mother's almost dead, and you're put into a humidity crib. And back then, I was born in the 60s, right? So it was literally like an iron lung. There's tubes coming out of me. There's no human contact. Um, and any contact you got was through tubes and rubber gloves. And I was in that state for over 6 months. My mother, she had to have care as well. So I didn't have that human touch. Um, and I'm sure it was terrifying. And in fact, I know it is because I'm doing the work now. But my mother also suffered a different experience, but a similar experience because of the the guilt of what have I done to my baby. This, from the moment I was born, marked my abandonment wounds. My nervous system was wired for survival from the very beginning that I drew breath. My mother, well, she suffered deep, deep postnatal depression. She disconnected from me emotionally and physically. My grandmother stepped in. I don't know if you can see this, maybe. Whoop. This is a photograph of me. You can't really see it, can you? Um, anyway, upside down. This is a photograph of me. I was 7 months old then, and you can see how tiny I was. I came home um, with still 24-hour care almost. So what happened was my grandmother stepped in because my mother couldn't look after me. Miriam has written a song for her, and it's actually almost healed me in a lot of ways because it was almost that missing piece. You can do the work on yourself. You can have someone like me who is trained to teach you and guide you. But Miriam was almost that little piece that was missing. Anyway, back to my story. My grandmother looked after me. She became my secure base, my safe haven, my everything. I had love But I also lived in a home where emotional and physical abuse became normal because of the detachment that my mother had with me. She didn't know how to show me love. All she knew was to give me all the messaging of, you shouldn't have been born, you shouldn't have survived. My life wasn't, it wasn't a place where most children should be. When my brother was born, the experience was different. So I grew up in a household where my brother had the love, had the attention. I had my needs, my physical needs met. I had the water, I had the food, I had the house, but I didn't have the love. And so I saw left and right of arc because I saw, and that meant that I went, what have I done wrong? What's wrong with me? Am I not lovable? Am I not worthy? So the fight and flight kept kicking in. So what happened then? In my hypervigilant state as a very young child, I learnt that I had to be quiet. I had to play small. I had to do everything to make sure that I was never in trouble. And maybe, just maybe, if I did something nice, my mother would love me. You know, I don't blame her because it's what was given to her and the tools that she had and her own fight and everything else that went in it. I've made peace with it, but it's still part of me and part of my story. So I'm a people pleaser. I'm high achieving. I work in national security. I'm aiming to be a full-time coach by the end of this year. I'm working, I've got to tell you, 100 hours a week between my coaching and between my full-time business and finalizing my accreditation. That's who I am. That's all I've known. Superwoman syndrome is a real thing in my household because I feel or have felt that I have something to prove. And it's come from that conditioning from when I was born. But my grandmother's love, she became the blueprint for the kind of space I now create for others. She was the kind of woman who gave her last piece of bread. No one left her house ever, ever hungry. And I'm not just talking about the food, I'm talking about the nourishment that your soul needs. Her presence taught me the nurturing person I can be, and I can change and help others. Because hurt doesn't always leave you, but healing can. And when you find that peace, it's okay to cry. I said this morning, I never cried because I always had to be the strong. I always had to be the person who held everything together. I don't know if you can see this one, this photo of me. You can see the mask. I was in my 20s and I hid behind this mask. I was put together, literally. No one knew me and looked at my life and thought I was blessed. I was blessed because I'm a survivor. But I hid behind a mask so no one saw what was going on. My cousins don't know what happened to me. My brother has a different version of my mother. And so when I tell him my story, he dismisses it. So this is what ended up this girl. But she's going and she's almost gone. And this is me. And my grandmother, whenever I put myself down, she would sit me down, she would give me that cup of tea, and she would not let me leave the table until my smile and my peace came back. So, with beauty and grace and kindness and wisdom and space, that is what I am bringing into my coaching practice. I know the deep work. I am qualified for the deep work. And if you're a leader, a mother, a survivor, everything that shows up with you comes from doing the work. And my grandmother is speaking to me now, and she's saying, Sonia, tell the women you are ready. Invite them to come into my coaching practice. Invite them to be part of what I can give. And she's also told me, I will gift you the number 3 coaching sessions so I can help you. Have a conversation. Thank you. I am blessed. And thank you, Elizabeth, for giving me this platform to have the courage to start telling my story. And to all of you beautiful souls who are listening right now, thank you.
Well, thank you all for sharing your stories. And I'll see you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. and then 7 p.m. at night. And then, Betty, if you want to come, we're having a memorial service. It's a tribute because there were women who came when you came for the first women's conference that have passed away. And we want to recognize them for their contributions to the group. And so we'll do a little tribute. And if anyone wants to come and talk about their loved ones, that's the channel. So see y'all tomorrow, 11 o'clock. We're launching an app and Stephanie's new book. It's a book launch. So I like to do launches on the conference. And so she's going to launch Little Lola Bakes a Cake. And I really want to know how a bulldog can bake a cake. So I'm interested in hearing this story. And then we'll be doing workshops all day tomorrow. We're going to teach social media, AI, ChatGPT, websites, everything. So we'll be talking all things AI. And Sonia is going to give us a class on avatars. So we're going to do some avatar photos. And then for the party, the Hollywood party, we'll have a photo booth and we'll take some pictures. I keep forgetting to take pictures when I'm on the call, but that's it. So does Miriam want to go first or Elton? Who's going to close out? Miriam's going to do music and then you.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay, so Miriam, you go next, and then Elton will close us in prayer. And then if you want to give us another song, then you can do that too. We're so grateful to all these lovely songs from Miriam. Well, let me stop recording.